Hi, and welcome back to our Ask the Agronomist video series. I am Phil Long, Precision Agronomy Advisor with Latham High-Tech Seeds. And this week, we're going to be talking about another timely topic as I stand here, and it seems like it's warmed up going into our winter season, unseasonably warm weather. Great time to talk about how corn can produce its own nitrogen. Yes, this is not some fairy tale that we're making up, but if you've looked at articles in the past couple of years, you've probably noticed some of these products showing up, especially one that we're going to talk about here today, and that's Pivot Bio's Proven product. One that we tried here on the Latham farm, one that many of you have asked about, and one that's got a lot of limelight, I'll say, in the last year or so. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why. And this week, like I mentioned, is a good time to talk about it because it does have some environmental benefits, obviously, to reducing some of that fertilizer and allowing the microbes to do some of the work and not having to put quite so much down, especially as we put a lot down in the fall around here. And obviously, going into 2022, looking at potentially even higher fertilizer prices than we've seen now by some claims. It's a great time to talk about it. So let's jump right in. So just to give a little background on the product itself, some of the claims, Pivot Bio, it's the Proven product. Now this year they're releasing the Proven 40, which claims to replace 40 pounds of your nitrogen program in corn. When it first came out, it was the Proven product claimed around 25 to 30 pounds of replacing nitrogen on your nitrogen program on corn. And the biggest, one of the other biggest claims probably is that it's not impacted by rain or the weather. So when we have these severe weather events early in the season, when 6-inch rain, this isn't going to go anywhere. It's not like nitrate leaching out of the soil, losing all that fertilizer. So that's a good thing there. So how it works, obviously, if you don't have in-furrow capabilities on your planter, you'd have to do that because you need to put this down in furrow right with the seed, so that way when the corn germinates and the roots start to grow, it's attaching to those corn roots, or really it's kind of living in that rhizosphere, as we call it, the rhizosphere of the root zone, proliferating in there and staying there with the roots as they continue to grow. So this product claims it's working from V6 to R4 is kind of the high point of its life cycle, I guess, if you will, which is great because if you look at a nitrogen curve on the corn nitrogen uptake curve, you're going to notice that that's when it really starts, that corn demand really starts to increase. Once we get to R1, we're at about 50-60% nitrogen uptake in the plant, and it's still on a very steady increase. So really what we're looking at here is for those that are thinking of, side dressing, spoon feeding the crop, can something like this product really provide that additional advantage throughout the season. So the other thing I want to state before I get into some of the yield results is don't think that this product is going to replace your nitrogen program on corn 100%. No bacteria will do that. It's not meant to. Bacteria in the soil, just like the ones that convert convert ammonium to nitrate in the soil and go through that nitrogen cycle, it's not providing thousands of pounds per acre. It's providing a little bit at a time, and that's really what's key with this product. It's giving you a little bit all season long, and from some of the research they've showed, it does increase the total nitrogen in the plant, which is a good start, but does it correlate to yield? So I just want to make that note because the one other thing I think a lot of times we get confused on is the ratio and our when we put nitrogen fertilizer in the ground, a lot of times we think a 1-to-1 ratio, or 1.2 pounds of nitrogen fertilizer per bushel of corn crop. We want to put 200 pounds down to get at least 180 to 200 bushel corn, that kind of thing. That's not necessarily the way it works. Maybe the first 100 pounds or so may be in that direct correlation, but research has shown over many decades now that that's not the case. After so many, after those 100 pounds of nitrogen are taken up, it's not the same relationship, and it may not be utilized quite as efficiently. And even if you look at soybeans, we may think that all the nitrogen in soybeans come from the rhizobium. They require 300 plus pounds of nitrogen per year. Does all that come from those bacteria forming those nodules on the roots? In most cases, no. Especially in our area, most of Latham country has 3, 4, 5, 6+ % organic matter, and many times we've seen 50+% of that coming from the soil. So the nodules may provide 40 to 60% of the nitrogen, but a good chunk of it's still coming from just the soil's natural nitrogen in there in that nitrogen cycle conversion that's available to the plant during the season. So just remember that this is not replacing your whole nitrogen program on corn, so don't look at it that way, and that's not the way that I looked at it. So just to look at some of the yield results, I'm going to give you some of their yield results the last couple years, and I'll talk about ours. So in 2018, they had a little over 7 bushel, I believe, or 7.5 bushel an acre advantage or increase with Pivot Bio's proven product. In 2019, they had 6, so about the same. And then last year they had a little over 3 bushel. And then this year, where we did it, like I mentioned, we just did a couple strips out here just to kind of try it out and see. I did not decrease our nitrogen fertilizer, which I would encourage you to do that. We'll be doing that next year. For logistic reasons, I wasn't able to do that, but so we still had a full rate of nitrogen down. We still had 180 plus pounds. We side dressed to get that. So we still had a full nitrogen program out there, but we still saw just over 5 bushels, about 5.3 bushel an acre advantage from the strips of Pivot Bio that Pivot Bio was applied to, and we put that on our LH5377 hybrid. And so overall, we did see a payback of around $10 an acre return on that product. But you got to remember that there's a cost for the product, and there's obviously a savings in terms of reducing your nitrogen fertilizer. So I thought we'd look at that a little bit. So especially this year as prices are going up, but I grabbed a ammonia price before things went sky high. So around if you could get it for $750 a ton, obviously it's a lot more than that now. And talks of it staying that high or going up into the spring. But if we had it around $750 a ton anhydrous, we'd be around 45 cents a pound. So if you're cutting back 25 pounds per acre on your nitrogen program, like the claims early on for Pivot Bio was, you'd be saving around $11, $12 an acre. Now going into next year, that like I mentioned, the new product they have is the proven 40, and that's claiming 40 pounds of nitrogen. That would be closer to $20 an acre savings. So you're offset by the savings and the cost of the product. It's about the same. So any advantage, yield advantage over the top of normal is going to give you, extra profit in terms of the product paying for itself. So there is an offset there, the cost of the product versus how much you save. But if you spent more money on nitrogen, this 2022 season might be a great opportunity to check that. So might be a good opportunity to try some things out, maybe reduce it a little bit and try it in furrow if you have that capability to try it out on your planter. So overall, I want to remind everybody this product, and there's lots of microbial products out there. As we continue to push the yield envelope, to learn more on how we can really push our products and push our yields out there in the field, microbes have a place, and obviously finding the right mix, not only with what we're doing for tillage and keeping the carbon to nitrogen ratio right and our fertility in balance, but the microbes that are in there and living in our soil play a huge role in terms of how all that balance works out and how yield and everything goes together. I mean, we talk a lot about human health. Crop health is the same way. To have everything in balance and harmony, you're going to have a much healthier crop. So there's a lot to it, but I just want to end with saying that, remember, this is not going to replace your nitrogen program. It adds that little extra benefit and reduces maybe that additional bit that you'd put on that might be lost to the environment. So a lot of times we don't see that full benefit, and the fertilizer efficiency in terms of nitrogen is not always that high. Sometimes it's not even 50-60%, unfortunately. So if you're putting a lot of nitrogen out there and not seeing the returns, that you got to remember that you may be not following the 4 R's as closely as you should be in terms of right rate, right form, and time. I mean, timing for nitrogen is so critical. So this product just gives us an opportunity to experiment a little bit. If you've never tried something like this, give it a try if you can have that capability on your planter on your farm next year, and let us know. If you have any other insights or questions, feel free to reach out to us. We always welcome the feedback, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.